Hello and welcome back to Drawing 1, Shapes, Proportions, and Perspective. Today we're going to talk about drawing faces. I feel like every young artist wants to be able to draw portraits, and let me tell you, it is one of the hardest things to draw, which is why I've saved it for our last video lesson before our Zoom meeting. I don't plan on practicing the faces in the Zoom class, however, I do offer one-on-one lessons, which I'm going to mention now. If you want to schedule one-on-one lessons with me, let me know. We can schedule it through my hobby courses or however else we want to figure it out to practice. But drawing faces isn't easy. It's in fact very difficult. I had you do an abstract self-portrait at the beginning to kind of get it out of your mind that they need to be perfect, because I have been drawing for 8 years and I still can't draw portraits perfect. I still struggle. That being said, we're going to cover it because I know this is what young artists want to do, because it's what I wanted to do. And the sooner you start doing it and the more you do it, the better you're going to get at doing it. So let's begin. Greek proportions. We talked about this in, I think it was the second lesson. They had a set of proportions. They also had proportions for the face and how the face is measured. Not everyone's face is going to meet the perfect proportions. I think we all know that. Everyone's face is a little bit different. That's what makes everyone unique. That being said, we can use these perfect proportions to map out starting points of where things should go on the face. And I have examples of how we map on the top. It looks really intimidating. I promise it's not that hard. If you mastered the perspective lesson from last time, I promise you this is even easier to understand. So the front view of the face. This is the easiest for beginners to draw. Is straight on front view of a face. The center line goes down the middle of the face. The eyes go across the 1/2 point of the face. I put all the measurements on this first slide. Which in hindsight I probably shouldn't have done because I want to talk about them on the second slide. But, so the head is an oval shape. So I always start with drawing kind of an upside down egg shape with the tip or the point or the thin part at the bottom. This is kind of like a skeletal map out, which is kind of neat. Because regardless of gender or sex, we all have the same skeleton under our skin. I mean, everyone's is a little different, but the base is the same. The eye line, a common misconception, does not go higher on the face. It goes right in the middle of the face. Halfway point. Some people it'll be higher, some people it'll be lower, but as a standard starting point, it should be halfway on the face. And then everything works in halves as we move down. The eyebrows are 1/4 of the way up from the center of the eyes. So we have this eye line, and then we have this divided into kind of, well, it's divided into thirds. But if we were to divide it into fourths, it would be the first fourth up from the eye line is where your eyebrows are going to go. One halfway between the eye line and the bottom of your face is where the tip or the very bottom of your nose is going to line. Okay? Some people's are higher, some people's are lower, but as a general base, that's where that's going to go. Your eyes have a 1 eye width in between each one. So there's 1 eye width between your 2 eyes, and on the sides of your head there should be 1 eye width. And that's how we center. So across that middle of your head should be 5 eye lengths long. So I like to draw 5 ovals across that line, and then put 2 of them on the outside, erase those, leave 1 on the middle, erase the middle one, and then those 2 that you have left are where your eyes should go. The mouth is halfway between the bottom of your nose and your chin. That is where the center of your mouth line falls. And the marking of where your chin marks falls halfway between the bottom of your face, or your chin, and the center mouth of your lips is where that line where your chin curves is going to be. Practicing straight on portraits, start there. You're going to want to do about 1,000 of these before you try the harder views. That's what I did. Alternatively, you could try them all. Get good. I really, really suggest, though, you draw a mixture of men and women so that you get a better understanding of the differences in them, and you're not stuck being really good at drawing women or really good at drawing men, and you can't draw the other. Side profiles are a little bit harder. This is my biggest struggle. This is the hardest angle for me. But they use those same mapping proportions. Everything goes in the same place. But you're drawing from the side. So what you do is you draw a big circle, and then you mark the angle of this side of the face and where the chin goes. This center line across, the ear goes over here. Everything else maps out the same. But when we draw the eyes and the eye shapes, they're a little bit different. The eyes are a different shape. The nose, we have to draw these contours of the face. So we draw, you can see the sketch line, this curve, and then they've filled in, okay, the mouth curves like this, the chin comes out, the nose curves in. This indent of your nose should line up with the center of your eye. That is where that is. So that indent, the bridge of your nose, the curve, where it curves in, lines up right with where your eyes are. And that's pretty much true on every human being. Eyebrows are right above the eyes. We've talked about this. But yeah. So it's all about mapping out where things are, mapping out those geometric shapes, and then refining them into the shapes you want them to be. That's what art is really. 3/4 view. Again, the same proportions and placements, but this is the most flattering angle and one of the hardest to draw. This is considered to be the most flattering angle. It's used in photography, it's used in sculpture, it's used in art of all kinds. But yeah. So your eyes still go halfway down the head. They look a little higher though, because of the way the head is tilted. In 3/4 view, you're probably going to either have your head tilted down or up. So it's important to remember the way the face curves. If it's curving down because they're looking down, or if it's curving up because they're looking up. So you can see when I drew the lines over here, I drew them curved instead of straight because his face is curved. When we try to capture likeness, we map it out like this, where I have mapped it out and noted the things that are different from the perfect proportions. Her eyes are a little higher on her face. Her nose isn't quite as wide. Her mouth is fuller. And its edges don't line up with the center of your eyes. When you draw a mouth from a straight on view, the edges of your lips, the outside edges, should line up with the center of your pupil. Hers don't. They might line up a little more inwards, so she's got a little more of a short mouth. I've mapped she's got soft, round face. I've noted she's got a long oval head. It's not super circular. It's not tapered super. It's very oval in shape. She's got really round eyes that sit a little bit higher on her head. Her nose sits slightly higher. Her lips are fuller. And so the center line does sit higher, but they don't look like it right away because her lips are fuller. And so I've noted these things so that if I were to then go and draw her, I could draw the same map that I've drawn over the image on my paper, map out her features, and then focus on these notes that I've made when trying to capture her likeness. Your activity is to draw a portrait. You can go on Pinterest, go on Google, look up portraits. Use your Greek proportions as a guide, map out how the head should look, and then I recommend printing the image and drawing over it in a colored pen to find out where the eyes actually sit in proportion, if they're a little more inwards, if they're a little more outwards, if their nose is longer or shorter. Basically, yeah, map out where things sit, how things look. I recommend that you definitely try doing one of a straight on, and if you're feeling ambitious, try a 3/4 view or a side portrait. If you want to get the most out of this activity, you're gonna want to do all three. But you by no means have to. For your first time, focus less on shading the face and more on capturing the details of the lines. Sometimes less is more. Drawing noses, less is more. And there's tons of videos if you look up like how to draw and then you insert the part that you're struggling with. There's lots of videos and stuff on how to do that. But it's going to show you how to draw one specific eye or one specific mouth. And not everyone's going to have that mouth and that eye. So take it with a grain of salt. I plan on at some point teaching a drawing 2 course where I will go more in depth on how to draw portraits. But this is kind of a nice introduction. Just do your best. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. I recommend using portraits off the internet of people you don't know or not super famous celebrities, just models off the internet, because you're going to feel less frustrated when it's not perfect. So yeah, good luck and have fun.